Three, two, one.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter. Hope you're having a great week so far. The Real Pineapple is currently on hiatus. I'm actually recording this a couple days before I'm on said hiatus. I was lucky enough to get a screener for the new Pixar film Turning Red, which is written and directed by I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm sorry. I believe it's Domee Shi, okay. One thing I really do love about Pixar in general is that you see these directors, go ahead and start off, doing storyboards or maybe work in the animation department, and they go ahead and work their way up. And I do love the way that they go ahead and, kind of work within or build within in that way, whether it's John Lasseter, whether it's Brad Bird, whether it's, Andrew Stanton. Like, I really love the way that they go ahead and work internally as far as people getting their projects. And I have to give Domee Shi a ton of credit, because she was the writer and the director on that short Bow, which I thought was so fucking well done and just really beautiful. I mean, got her an Oscar win, and I loved that short so much. And so I recognized her name for this. I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's see what she's got as far as taking on her first feature film. And this film goes ahead and follows our main character in Mei Lee, who's voiced by Rosalie Chang, and her mom, Ming, voiced by Sandra Oh. Sandra Oh, one of my favorite actresses, period, right now. And I don't want to give too much away, so I'm going to kind of dance around some things. So Mei Lee is very much the classic perfect child. She is, getting straight A's in school. She is, she is in multiple clubs. She's fucking awesome. But the way that the representation is done in this film in particular is something that I was really impressed with, because they could have very easily have gone, hey, this takes place in China. Like, they very easily could have gone that route. But nah, this takes place in fucking Toronto, which is something I went, oh, okay, like, right on. And something that Pixar has always been so great at is taking things that just seem kind of insane and making them work. When we talk about, when I reviewed Encanto, one of the things I loved is how the film talked about, family dynamics and how toxic they can be. And without giving too much away, that is something that is addressed here. So you can tell from the trailer, I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that that Mei Lee turns into this adorable red panda. And the reason for why she turns into a red panda is actually really clever. And it's a very clever metaphor for things later on. And again, I'm really trying to dance around this because I really don't want to spoil too much for y'all. But I love how the film even opens up by saying, number one rule in my family, honor your parents. And it's one of those things where you go, yeah, this is how you think about, how certain family dynamics work. I mean, hell, I can speak from the Black dynamic. I've definitely had friends that are people of color where it's definitely been like this. Like, you don't question your parents. You go ahead and you follow the path that they have gone ahead and laid out for you. And at the end of the day, what I love about this film is that the film really does say, like, yeah, you should honor your parents, but at the same time, don't be controlled by your parents. And some revelations that we find out about Ming's character and where her and her relatives and where things kind of went awry with them. It's a lot of fascinating revelations that the more you get into the movie, the more it rewards you. And I will say for myself, one of the things that I've really loved that Pixar is doing is taking on, I mean, they've always kind of done this, but they're doing it more from a social aspect now. They are really taking these characters of color, these people of color, and fleshing out their stories as far as issues and problems that exist within those communities specifically. Ray and the Last Dragon has that element. Soul has that element in it. And, this film definitely has an element in it. One of the things that I really love, and I mean love about this movie, is that Mei Lee has a couple friends. Miriam, who's voiced by Ava Morse, Priya, who's voiced by, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, Matri Rashmishkan. And then I'm going to go with Yan Park, who voices Abby. And of course, they end up having a fight because, it's a kid's movie. But the fight they end up having is not some immature teen girl, teeny bopper bullshit. It's a very real fight with very real feelings in a way that I went, this is one of those things that could break down and get lost in translation very easily. And it doesn't, you understand where each character is coming from for the reason this fight occurs. And that was something that I was really pleasantly surprised by. Because let's be honest, y'all, how many times have we seen, them have the nothing fight, as as Dane Cook would say. And that's really not a thing here. And it made me really happy that the fight is handled with the gravity that it needs to be handled with, given the circumstances. I cannot find her dad's name. I want to say it's Chris for some reason. I think that's right, but Mei Lee's dad is voiced by James Hong, who you of course know from Big Trouble in Little China, the Kung Fu Panda films, Batman: Soul of the Dragon, which if you have not seen that, highly recommend. But there is one scene that they have from a father-daughter perspective that made me cry so fucking hard, and you'll know it when you get there. But that's the thing about this movie. Like, Encanto made me cry at multiple points, but I was weeping during this movie. I just could not believe how well everything is handled. The animation, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like it's almost a backhanded compliment to bring up Pixar's animation, but their animation is top tier. There's a reason why Pixar is the company that they are. You always feel like you're being swept away in every shot. It's just everything feels like the city of Toronto feels like its own character. It feels like a living, breathing organism, and the way that they go ahead and showcase the city is something that I really was impressed by and found incredibly admirable. Normally, this is a thing that can really bother me when I think about something like Suicide Squad or what was that one, Transformers, Dark of the Moon. Title cards can be a real pain in the ass, but very early on when we're introduced to Mei Lee's friends, Miriam, Priya, and Abby, their title cards are so fucking cute, and they're just being kids. And at the end of the day, that's something that I really think kids need to see more, is that it's okay to be goofy. It's okay to, fucking like stickers. It's okay to, be 13 and like boys or girls or someone non-binary or whatever you're into. It's okay to have these feelings. And where a lot of the conflict comes between Mei Lee and her mom, a lot of the conflict comes from the fact that she does not want her daughter to grow up. And obviously it's one of those things that, whether you're a parent or you're an older sibling, look, I mean, I went through this. Like my sisters are, being in freaking high school when I was in college. I'm like, oh, this is weird. You're into boys and shit. What the fuck's happening? But I wasn't even close to as insane as Ming is. And honest to God, Ming does two things. One involving a boy, and I'll just leave it at that. But what Ming does, while the film kind of goes like, oh my God, isn't that wacky? I have friends that have gone through similar shit. I've been in the room where similar shit has happened. I mean, let's be real. How many times, I think we all have had that friend when we were, maybe 10, 11, 12, where if you went to their house, sometimes the parents would be arguing, or maybe your friend would argue with the parent, and then you're sitting there at the dinner table all awkward as hell. that is basically the movie. That's that situation, because some of the stuff Ming does, it's stuff you'd be telling to a counselor. Like it is so fucking dark, and in a way that I'm like, oh my god, you're going here. One of the things that I love about the movie is that when Mei Lee turns red, as it were. When she turns red, it's all about her emotions. It's essentially the She-Hulk. She has to go ahead and keep, or not She-Hulk, because She-Hulk is always great, but she's basically the Incredible Hulk. She has to go ahead and keep her emotions in check, or she turns into the panda. And the amount of hilarious sequences where maybe she might pop, her tail might pop out, or oh shit, her paws popped up and replaced her hands. There is this one kid, and I think his name is like Trevor or Travis. I can't remember which. I apologize. IMDb doesn't have him listed. This kid is a fucking monster, and I'm starting to love this concept that kids' films are kind of introducing more of the bully who's just a piece of shit getting their ass whipped by fill in the blank. Because I think back to Ron's Gone Wrong and how incredibly shitty that one kid was in there, and how and how no shame the robot just fucks his shit up, and how I cheered. I was like, good, give me more of that. Fuck that kid up. There's a moment like that in this movie that I just went, yep, I don't feel any sympathy for you at all. You're a fucking asshole. It made me very happy. I'm trying to think of what else I can say without spoiling stuff. There's a boy group that is introduced called Four Town. Four Town is wonderful, by the way. There's a song they sing called True Love that just had me rolling. And it's one of those elements where you're kind of like, all right, you're introducing this. I'm curious. And then what they do with it, you go, God damn, Pixar just understands how to take these things that you go, wait, why are you doing this? And then you go, oh, this is there's totally a reason why you're doing this, and you completely understand why you're doing it. It's so fucking nuts, but in the best way possible. And it's one of those things where I just go, man, this is why Pixar continues to just elevate their game. And again, I understand, like, I want Mitchell's vs. Machines to win Best Animated Film this year, because I truly believe it deserves it. It's my favorite anime film of the year. Even more so than Encanto, even more so than Ron's Gone Wrong or Raya. But my God, this is already one of those films I'm going, all right, this will probably be on my top 10. It's just a matter of how high it's going to be. Without getting too much in spoilers, because again, I'm really trying to dance around this. The initial scene where she gets her panda powers, where Mei Lee gets her panda powers, that's such a wonderfully imaginative, like, dream sequence. It's really nightmarish. It's almost like you're expecting Gozer to show up. I was like, holy shit, okay, you're doing this, but it's so well handled how everything is laid out. There's just this point where Mei Lee just breaks down in her bed, and because she's so emotional, she turns into the panda, and she just cries herself to sleep as the panda. And I just want to give her a hug. I was like, kid, I am so sorry you're going through this. And it's one of those films that, as the film goes on, the more the characters get developed, the more they really use her panda powers in really imaginative ways and really imaginative fun sight gags. There's a point where this girl in the bathroom, she turns into a panda, and the girl looks up at her and goes, oh, and she can't even finish the G because Mei Lee takes her paw, puts it on her head, and just pushes her back in the stall. And that was one of the hardest laughs I got all film. Getting to my final thoughts, because I don't want to talk anymore because I don't want to spoil anything. This film was absolutely incredible. There is one plot point that involves a phone number, but it honestly could have been found on Google. So I kind of give that bit a pass, because I think there is a way you could have gotten this person's phone number in order to tie into the plot point. You'll know when you get there. But it was one of those things I went, yeah, you actually could have gone about it this way, and that probably would have worked still. So, but outside of that small nitpick, and that is a small nitpick, this movie just has this incredible rhythm. It's always fun. I never found myself bored. It has this great pacing. I can't remember how long it is. It's only it feels like it's under 2 hours, for sure. But it's one of those movies I just went, yeah, this is how you do these sorts of films. And I was just really happy. The more I watched this, the more I was like, yeah, I fucking dig this. And again, I found myself weeping at multiple points. I just had so much fun with this. It's a very simple explanation for the panda, but it actually makes sense. And I don't know, y'all, this felt inspired. This made me just happy. And I just really wanted to go back and watch this again. This is out on March 11th. I cannot find the runtime for this. I know it's under 2 hours. It cannot be more than an hour 40. But again, it's well paced. It's fun. You can watch this with your kids. And honestly, I think your kids are going to love this freaking movie. Not just because of the pretty colors. But this is something that you can watch with your kids, and hopefully you both take away things from it. I definitely was like, wow, I'm impressed that Pixar is going here with some of these discussions. But yeah, absolutely well worth the watch. I don't see how this doesn't crack my top 10. This is a fan-fucking-tastic of the highest order. This is probably my favorite Pixar film since Soul. And again, all due respect to Raya and the Last Dragon and to Encanto, which I enjoyed, but I actually like this even more than Encanto. I just absolutely adore this movie. So check this out on March 11th when it comes out. It is well worth your time. It is freaking awesome. But everyone, Turning Red, what did you think of it? Let us know when you've seen it, and let us know in the comments. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at NearmanTheFirst. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us most places you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneUp, to name a few spots at The Real Pineapple. You can also find me on I was gonna say on the Twitter, but I already mentioned that. You can find me on Letterboxd at Black Shazam, and you can find me on TikTok at Black Shazam 775. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/JHunterRealPineapple. By the time you listen to this, the show will be on hiatus, but we will have episodes dropping. Or that will have dropped already by the time we've heard this. Reviews will be up for The Batman. My best and worst stuff for 2021 will be up. Oh gosh, what else? We will have, leading up to the Oscars, like a week ahead of the Oscars. So basically from like the 18th until the 27th, when the Oscars actually happen, we will have a review for every Best Picture nominee, one per day from the 18th until Oscar season, or until the 27th. I'm really excited to have a review for every single Best Picture nominee. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Stay safe out there. Get your COVID shot. Take care of each other. Wear your mask. Stay safe, and we will talk to you soon.